I wish we got this video started earlier because it's about to go into Armistice. What's up, everybody? Today we're going to take a look at some of the best guild siege defenses from G3 guilds for both Europe and global server. We may do the Asian ones in a different video, like Asia, China, Japan, Korea, if they're so different that we really need to make notes of it and be like, wow, this is definitely different from what we've seen in the other ones. But I think a lot of it is going to be very similar. It's going to be Kamoon and Skogr. Skogr? It's going to be Kamoon and Skogl and Vigor. In a lot of them, it's going to be a lot of the same. I think it's going to be a lot of the same stuff that we've seen from the first, from the previous one. I don't think, yeah, we can't actually see any of this because they already won pretty fast. So we have, let's go take a look at the next one. We can see all of the bases. Okay, so it's not, what do I call them, Skogr? It's a lot of Trianas. It's very similar to what we've seen before. It's a lot of Savannas. That's what we see. Similar to... Is this a different... Hold on. Maybe I should be paying attention to which base is which. No, these are different... Well, you know, this is the same issue with the last season. The last time we had a Siege Battle Tournament, it was the same things at all the towers. And I'm clicking on different towers, and I'm like, am I clicking on the same towers? It's like the same stuff we... Welcome to Summoner's War! Welcome to Summoner's War in 2020. Same... It's a different season, same defenses. Nothing has changed. Nothing is changed. We see some irises and stuff, but it's like it actually looks like we're just looking at the same towers over and over and over again. So if you guys are curious what to build, I mean, it's cool that we actually see the Shongpung Water Art Master. I'm trying to talk so fast because I know we have 10 minutes left. It's kind of cool that we see the Art Master in there. We're seeing some druids. We're all seeing just like fire, water, wind, one of each element. By the way, guys, if you're early game or you're early mid game and you're doing all water, all wind, all fire defenses, don't do that. The only reason you'd want to do that is if you know what you're doing and they're light and dark defenses. That's about the only reason, because you are already at a massive disadvantage if everything is the same element, right? Because they can just counter you easily with the same element of offense. Like if it's just a water defense, then they can just take some wind units and basically auto you. I mean, for the most part. Okay, so we see this is kind of interesting because you can still outspeed this pretty easily, but there's a lot of there's revives on here though. So I feel like you could definitely just outspeed this and Rocky this. We didn't really see too much of too many towers like that. Wow, so many Kamoon, so many Vigor, and so many just X, just whatever X, last one, whatever you want the last one to be. Stick some LD5s in there. Jeez. If you guys are curious if you should build... Okay, so this is a little bit of a different tower. If you guys are curious if you should build some of these defenses, there we go. Let's actually... Yeah, I mean, we kind of see what's... This is kind of like an older kind of thing. That's kind of an easier one to beat. But, of course, that's... right now, I'm clicking on this 3 circle base. That's, like, all the way by... That's all the way by their home base. So that's not, like, one of their premium defense towers anyway. So, yeah, it's just, this is one of the things. It's just basically, nice Ethnas, okay. It's basically just stacking the same defense so many times as a strategy, right? For the higher level guilds is if you really want to try hard, you stack the same defense over and over and over and over and over again because your enemies are not going to have that many counters. They may have 1, 2, 3, 4 counters to that defense maybe, and then they're going to run out. Right, so if you just keep stacking the same defense, it's kind of disappointing and unfortunate. Oh, so Doubt actually clinched that one. Now we're here on the global server. It's a little bit more relaxed because we don't have 5 minutes before it's going to be over. So we can kind of take our time, but we don't want to take too much time because we're just going to see the same towers over and over and over again, aren't we? So let's just get it started. Remember, the top 4 guilds get a bye into the next round, so they don't even have to fight in the first round. And I feel like we're going to see the same thing with all of these, with all of the Guild Siege tournaments on every server. We're going to see like the same thing as we did the last season is the top 4, for the most part, the ones that are currently the top 4 are going to be in the top 4 again. I think we saw a couple upsets, but that's mainly what it's going to be. Like a lot of this stuff is just going to be like, see who gets rank 10 and rank 9 and rank 12 at this point. But I think we're going to see just, again, the same, like the top 4 guilds are going to be the top 4 guilds for the most part again, with very little variation on the different servers. Mostly that's what's going to happen. Okay, so but we want to see the actual defenses. So let's go through and let's see what else we can hit. I'm just going to go from the left, from the bottom left-hand corner to the top right-hand corner. So if you guys want to follow along, it's roughly, it's Kamoon, Vigor, and Iris. So let's see what's... Oh, there's a little bit different. But it's basically, it's speed lead, very fast strips, some kind of defense break, some kind of sustain in there, right? So, similar. We have nothing left on that one, so we're going to start hitting these red towers. Ciara and... I was going to say Bast. It's not... I'm like, it's not Bast. It's Ciara, Barbara. You're going to misplay Barbara's name now, boy. Okay, so we see some Beast Riders. We see Speed Leads, Beast Riders, Orion Strip, Defense Break. Beast Rider's just so strong overall. Kind of got thrown... Wait. Is this the actual next tower? Yeah, this is actually the next tower. So this is a little bit different. Why do we even do blooper? Oh, I did do a blooper video, didn't I? I forgot to upload that. Why do we even do bloopers if I just blooper in the entire video? So that's looking like it's probably a Swift. Maybe it's a Swift beta. Maybe it's a Violet beta that you would assume is a Swift beta. Maybe it's a Swift Sylvia too. It's probably a Violet Sylvia. It's probably a Swift beta Violet Sylvia. That's what I would think. So we actually see Geldnir for once, and some more LDs, and some more LDs. Sometimes they do the LD towers a little bit differently. Like just stack a tower for like wacky LD stuff. That's the ones I'd like to see the most, is at least it's different from just like Vigor Skogel. But at least people, hopefully, the people watching, will maybe get some ideas. They're not going to get any ideas. They're like, yeah, okay, Bagel, all you're showing me is build like all these Vigors and Skogels. I mean, Vigors and Kamoons. We're not seeing so many Skogels anymore. So what? That's I think the biggest trend here is that Skogel is not as relevant as he used to be. People are kind of countering him a little bit. I just clicked on the same tower again, didn't I? Yeah, I think I actually did on that one. We're seeing Skogels now. We're seeing Skogel, Tressar, and Molly. So that's interesting. That's, again, I'm clicking the same. I'm clicking on the same tower, guys. I'm not paying attention. Trying to make... Okay, so that's an actual... This is a defense a lot of people can actually build, so that's kind of nice. Some of the best players sticking this defense in there. That's not bad. It's a speed lead. That's a Swift Clara, very fast, and that's Miho just doing Miho things because we know what Miho does, right? We know what Miho does. So I think maybe a decent counter that may be a light Griffin tanky with good resistance, right? Because you know the Miho is gonna want to hit that, right? And also another thing that I would like to take, like a light Griffin and bulldozer, not bulldozer, tractor. Wow, my brain's not working today. Bagel never works. Light Griffin and a tractor and X, like third unit. Maybe a did I say light bulldozer? Light Griffin, tractor, and water mammoth, right? Water battle mammoth. So that's something that maybe I would take into that. So that's kind of more of a, not like, I mean, it's close to their base, right? So it's not one of their premium defenses. Or more meta defenses, kind of like an older meta defense, because you can still CC that. That one's not as scary as some of the other ones that are more fast and more aggressive, because you could still take turn 1 there, and there's a lot of things you can do as soon as you take turn 1. So there we go for that first one. So let's see what we have here. We don't really have too many things open here, so we're seeing again very similar. Again, very similar to other towers, very similar to other things, very similar to last season. We see the Skogel in there, over there. And we see another twins. This is very similar to, I know you guys already, this is a little bit different. Ciara, Clara, and Vigor. So you got sustain, you got speed lead, you have a fast strip and CC unit, and then you have sustain, you have defense breaks, you have 2 different defense breakers, you have a couple strips, right? Because you have the Clara strip with skill 1, you have the Clara strip with skill 3, you have the Vigor defense break, and you also have him sustain, right? So you have, one of the nice things with fast aggressive defenses is if you can bring some sustain in there at some point, then they can't just like slow and steady tank it out with something, right? Because then you have sustain too. So that is, I think I just clicked on the same defense again. So that's a little bit different, but that's, of course, I mean, it's similar with the first 2. The Galleon Clara is always a good place to start. Galleon Clara and some kind of element neutral DPS kind of thing. But again, there's also no sustain on there, so that's one of That's one of the things there. Ciara, Clara, and then that monkey's got a skill to steal beneficial effects, and he also has a defense break stun. So they're going to outspeed, they're going to CC, strip CC, and then defense break stun, do some monkey might, defense break one unit, not defense break another unit, and then Ciara will target whoever is defense broken. So, Dark Ninja. Not the Dark Ninja. Okay. And then there is sustain on here, so that's a little bit of an interesting one, but you can't really... What did I even click last? I think no, I didn't click this one. Okay. Okay, that's a little bit different. We're seeing a lot of similar stuff. We're seeing a lot of similar stuff to last season. This is the one that I already clicked on before. Okay, so we're actually almost done with this one. Those are kind of... That one's still a good defense. Still a good defense. He says in the Siege Legend tournament. Still a good defense. Bagel, they're all good. They're all good defenses. Let's see if we actually see anything different from over here. I know I'm clicking on the same defenses over and over again, trying to remember which one is which. So we're seeing some Claras and Savannahs. Nothing really too new. Ciara Gianna X is already a good start. Nasty, nasty LDs. Welcome to Summoner's War. Welcome to Summoner's War 2020. So there's a little bit of a... I think we saw this in another tower, maybe on Europe, or maybe earlier on Global. So I think we saw this somewhere, but this is a little bit of something different, right? So in my mind, I would still be like, oh, I can still Lucian that in my mind, but I'm sure that's a super, super fast Vigors. So this is a little bit of a... This is something we were seeing a little bit more last season. Not really seeing so much of that this season. That's another fairly... This one's another fairly easy one for people to get. Just Kamoon, Orion, and Amiho. So, gives you guys some ideas to make your... This is one I thought we would actually see a little bit more of. This is kind of... Like, this one, and then the Wind Monkey, Molly, and then a Fire Threat I've been seeing. Like, Wind Monkey, Molly, Tessarion, Wind Monkey, Molly, and Rakan. I think maybe Wind Monkey, Molly, and Masha might be a decent one too. So, damage mitigation, damage mitigation, damage mitigation. Where were we on here? Oh, so this is definitely, we didn't see this one. Okay. Dark Ryu. That's nasty. That's the Dark Polar Queen, by the way, if you guys can't tell, because your hat's in front. Everyone's hat's in front of their faces. When you lose, you have to put your hat down. In shame. Hang your head in shame. Wow, they actually, they really are hanging their head in shame. Lols. Did we see this one? Yeah, we did see that one. And we see some more of these. Okay. And we see some Volantis. Ciara Volantis Perna. Over there. Volantis is a hit or miss thing. There's a Ragdoll. Okay. I don't know that this one's going to really do too well. I don't want to, like, peep their defense record. This is a Dark Chimera, by the way, if you guys don't know what monster that is on the left. Because transmog, sometimes you don't know what monsters they are. Especially when their heads are like this. Like Bagel is half the time when he's looking at things. So that's a light unicorn. Just in case you guys can't tell. Hanging their heads in shame. This is this is not the same tower. I know I was clicking on some of the same ones, but that's not the same tower over there, so... See a light Beast Rider. Okay. Not a very common unit, though. That's why we don't see some of those light and dark Beast Riders or light and dark Art Masters more, because they're not very common units. They're the newer, first off, newer units and LD5s. So, we're not really going to see too many of those. Dark Dice Magician. Interesting. I mean, he's just Kamoon Vigor, right? So... Moon Vigor and a third unit. But we did see, this is one of the older style. So that's double fire. Okay. But a lot of these super, super tanky, and then some kind of revives in there. And generally, when you have revivers in your defenses, you got to think like, okay, who's going to hit me with, okay, it's going to be like a Varus, it's going to be Rocky. So you want to take something in there. You want to put something in your defense that's going to protect yourself from, or there's going to be a threat to a Varus and Rocky, right? Because that's what, as soon as you bring things that revive, like that's the first thing that people are going to think when they hit your defense is like, okay, can I either increase cooldowns, and a lot of fire units do the increased cooldowns, Also, Ganymedes and Cichlid increase cooldowns. So, like, fire and wind units do increase. But Lumericia too. No, not really that many people build Lumericia. Unless they're old school players and they just happen to have one. Maybe they're using it here or there, but yeah, you got to think of like what's going to be strong against those anti-revive and increase cooldown units that you have on your defense, and you kind of want to protect your defense, like have a threat to those specific units if you can. So this one's got a decent amount of towers open, so we can see a little bit more on this one for Fury versus 1979. So this is a little different. Tessarion, Ethna, and Beta, and then we have Tessarion, Tyrannus, and a Molly for. Why can't I remember names today? This is gonna happen the whole. This is gonna happen the whole video. I know I'm just gonna forget names of everything, of things that I have and things that I've built 3 of. Sometimes I just forget names. It's very scary. Don't get old, kids. So this is a little bit of a different defense. This is a little bit. Yeah, this is a little bit of a different defense than what we usually see too. Interesting. This is a little bit of an older thing. You don't see this too much because this can still be controlled, right? You can still like outspeed and control that pretty heavily. So again, it's similar with this: 2 fire, 1 water. So those are not as premium defenses currently in the current meta, but in like lower levels. I mean, this is we're talking G3. If this is lower levels, that defense is going to actually work really well. So defense is going to get you a lot of wins. So a nice thing about some of these is that they're just it's fairly easy. As long as you have the runes, it's fairly easy to build this defense. One of them is a 3-star, and then you just need a Triana and a Kamoon. So it's not really that crazy to build that defense. Like, oh my god, I'm never gonna get all those LD units to build that. And then to get Clara's, and then we have a Jean. Not that crazy to build some of these things. So keep that in mind if you are like. And again, this is another one. It's a just fusion unit, 3-star, and in Odin, you could put other stuff instead of the Odin, but one of the things you want to have this fast enough to be anti-Lucian, because this is like, as soon as I see this, I'm like, I need to Lucian this. This is Lucian this defense. So Vigor's got 115 base speed though, so if he's very fast, he can put up that crit resist before you even get a chance, or maybe they have some shields too. Like you want to kind of like, if you're putting a defense like this, you want to trap someone into making a very fast Vigor and maybe putting some shields on and making things very, very tanky, because you know that if you put a defense like this, that is going to get, like, people are going to try to Lucian that. So you got to make sure that you also test it for, to make sure it is anti-Lucian, to make sure that you can't Lucian some of these things. So let's see what else we have here. We see very similar stuff. We see a lot of Vigors everywhere, Vigors everywhere, Vigors everywhere. A lot of Irises. So... and I know a lot of people like running these. For these Kamoons, a lot of people like to run them fast, tanky with crit damage. A lot of violent, a lot of crit damage, a lot of destroy. That's what people like to run on these Kamoons right now, just in case you guys are curious. You could run a whole lot of different stuff on Kamoon for early game. Just make him fast and tanky for the most part, but for end game Kamoons, like, you're seeing a lot of violent, you're seeing a lot of destroy, you're seeing a lot of crit damage for them. So just FYI, if you guys are curious. That is a Theomars. I know a lot of you guys already got those transmogs, but maybe some of you didn't. You're like, what is that? That's not, I don't know that monster. And then we're seeing some similar stuff over there. We're seeing some, so I am curious. That is an HP lead, right? This is kind of a defense you don't see. Yeah, this is kind of a defense you don't see. I feel like I would still just want to Lucian this. I wonder if that's a super tanky Theomars. I wonder. Oh, so something's happening, but we see this stacked, so I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious how well this actually. Oh, so we see no results here. 10 wins, 7 losses. 1 win, 4 losses. 0 wins, 3 losses. I feel like I feel like you just Lucian that though. I don't know where we stopped because we saw that. Okay, here's where we stopped. Okay. And we saw that, I believe. So we're up to here. We see some LDs. We see some more LDs. We see some more LDs. And by the way, that's like those are a tanky bruiser for these guys, for these Hurtites. Those are not squishy like you would think Hurtite. Hurtite is like generally built pretty tanky. He needs a lot of stats. Fast, tanky, little bit of damage, but he's gonna get more damage over time. So like you see a little more on the tanky side for her tights. So until you do Rift Beasts, and then you see a little bit of a little bit more DPS her tights. So again, I'm clicking the same tower again. So that is a Skogul, Perna, and Tian Lang. It's kind of hard to see with all those transmogs, but so that's kind of interesting. Like, they're like, okay, I know I'm gonna get it Lucianed, so they're kind of protecting. I'm sure they're protecting very heavily against getting Lucianed. No defense records. I kind of don't want to show the defense records, but if people are in the tournament, they're gonna see the defense records anyway. So that's a Sylvia, Lauren, Perna. So very, very fast defense, looking to target something. Remember, Sylvia has a strip with skill 2, so that's let's take a look at this strip with skill 2. Attacks enemy, removes all beneficial effects on target. If there are 2 or more beneficial effects removed, the attack bar of all allies will be increased by 20% each. So that's another thing. Like, she's going to be stripping and pushing the attack bar down with skill 2, and then she's going to be stripping and boosting the attack bar. So Perna, even though Perna's generally not ruined with like 300 speed, nobody's ruining Perna with 300 speed. They're like, it's 200 speed, but between the attack bar pushback and the attack bar boost for their team, it's still got Perna's still going to get a turn and snipe something out, and probably Violent Proc and snipe something out again. We need to kind of speed it up and explain less because we're going to be here all day if I keep doing that. So we see some more Bastard Towers, some more of these, very similar to other things, but let's go a little bit faster. We see some Molly Tessarion Vigors. We see some Twins. This is the one I thought we would see more of. I actually was expecting to see more of those Wind Monkey leaders. But Tessarion's got a 41% resistance leader, so that is me clicking on the same tower again. We see some more Bastard Odin Pernus. Even though they can... Oh! Nasty. Meowster, clearly free-to-play. Clearly free-to-play player. Yep, definitely. I can confirm that. Free-to-play player. Okay, so still some more to... You know what? One of the nice things about this defense, again, it's... As long as you have a Molly, it's fairly easy to build. Tessarion is a fairly easy unit to obtain. So, like, half of these is like, as long as you get lucky with some kind of pull, you can stick the meta 3 and 4 stars, the meta Second Awakened and 3 and 4 stars like Miho and Vigor and Skogul and Orion and Kamoon and more Kamoon and more Kamoon and more Kamoon. You can stick a lot of those into there. And Raoul. Yeah, just get some fun LDs of some kind, and then stick the meta units in there. That's all you really need to know. that's all we. Hey, we see some. You know what? I'm surprised we didn't see some more of these actually. So, see some light Chun-Li's, light. I was gonna say light Kung Fu Girls, light Chun-Li / light. What's her face? And we see also Theomars in that team comp. Okay, so Tian Lang anti-boost. Some LDs and some meta stuff. Look at that. There's a decent amount of Tessarions. There's a decent amount of I'm clicking on the same defense. There's a decent amount of Tessarions. There's a decent amount. Look at these. This is Shayna. This is Triana. A lot of people have access to Shayna, Triana. I know there's some early game players that are like, I've never summoned a Shayna. I've never summoned a Triana, but you'll eventually get them. But a lot of this stuff is things that people have decent access to. Some more Tessarions. But I see, like, this is, I'm starting to see this a little bit more, I feel, now than last season. Not a lot, but not like all the time, but I'm starting to see it a little bit more. And it's been doing pretty well. It's kind of annoying to, like, go up against those, and you're like, oh, I got this. And, like, as soon as they start proccing, you're like, as soon as RNG happens, you know, you just want to make as much disgusting RNG, broken RNG on your defense as possible. As many opportunities to piss off your opponents. So this is interesting. That's a Rakan, by the way. M Bison, Fire M Bison. There's no strips here though. That's one of the things. I don't know how good this is gonna do, because there's no strips. So he's a CC unit, but doesn't have any strips on it. Let's actually take a look. Oh, there's no records on it, but at least there's a strip here, right? So I'm kind of curious to see how this winds up doing in the long term. I feel like he's got potential, maybe, but he doesn't really provide too much. He doesn't provide too much damage. He just provides CC and tankiness. So I think that he may be a really, really good unit if they balance patch him to do more damage, or to do like some strips or something, or like increased doing a little bit more like attack gauge reduction, or a little bit higher chance to provoke, or a little bit more chance to slow, decrease attack gauge, and it's the third skill that I'm talking about now, and stun. So this is another one. This I was expecting to see a little bit more of these, actually. So I think we're seeing a little bit more of those than last time. I don't remember what. Okay, so I'm just clicking on the same tower again. Again, I said I was going to do these a little bit faster. So we're seeing a lot of these are just the same units. Same units. Same things. Meta is meta. That too. So we're seeing, yep. Just pick meta units and stick them in. So this is, I'm assuming that's going to be either very fast despair for that Volantis or on Swift. So that's a little bit different. You don't usually see that. I feel like I was still Lucian that, right? That's very tanky, very tanky. Everything's probably ruined with like shield runes and super tanky. Probably a very a more tanky than average Perna as well, I'm sure. And we're seeing some betas, actually. I don't think we saw as many betas last season. Not that we're seeing a tremendous amount of them, but just, yeah, I don't think we saw that many. I think we saw a little bit less. Maybe I'm wrong. So, some Archangels. Archangels only leader skill. The only leader skill for Archangels applies to them. So, it's 50% leader skill for Light. But it does apply to Molly, too. So, Light. And then Molly doesn't apply to Molly, though. And then the resistance leader skill, so. Anyway, that's this for this one. And remember, this is, I know it says swag. There's a few different swag guilds, also. 4, if I recall correctly. Or, I could be wrong. I could be wrong with the amount of swag guilds, but I think there's 4. I think there's... I'm not going to say them, because I know whichever one I miss out, they're going to be pissed off if I... I know 3. I know 3 anyway. But I think there's actually 4. So, yeah, just FYI. It's a guild family. There's some guild families in the game. So we're seeing a lot of similar stuff. Would be cool to see some different stuff. We're not seeing so many Yen Hongs though. We see like every so often, but I mean, I know she's a rare unit. She's not a very easy unit to get. That's why we're not seeing so many Yen Hongs. I think I just clicked on the same tower again. That's a nasty defense. That is a nasty. Oh, wow. Actually, I was expecting that to be very one-sided. Expecting that to be very one-sided. Shout out to Icy Blood. He used to be in our guild. I said that boy was gonna be super OP. Give him like a couple months. Super OP. Couple months. So we saw an El Shari on there too. So we're seeing some Barbaros. I actually expect a little bit more Barbaros, to be honest. Is this the same tower? No, that's a different tower. Okay, that is actually a different tower. We're just seeing some more Beast Riders. Very nice. And we're seeing that's very similar to... That's a little bit more on the last season. Yeah, so this is a little bit more on the Skogul side. Whereas the first one that we saw... Yeah, it's a little bit more Skoguls here than we usually see. But it's kind of very similar to last season, to be honest. With a few differences, but not really anything too crazy. Not really anything to write home about. And I don't think we're going to follow this up with one taking a look at the Asian servers, because I feel like we're going to see a lot of the same stuff. But if we do, I will let you guys know. This is another one. It's fairly easy to make as Mihos, right? Fairly easy to make. If you guys got light dark mermaids, you guys got some Mihos, you are set. There you go. Very similar. Very similar. I mean, if they have high success rates, people are just going to keep stacking, right? So, not really seeing too much new stuff from last season. Welcome to Summoners War in 2020. Contra's like, we don't want to change too much. Then we see basically the same tournaments. Just the same tournaments. Same stuff every season. Maybe the new 2A monsters will... I mean, Vigor really changed a lot of stuff by, like, Vigor. Okay, so this is a speed lead there. speed lead AoE strip. So they got a couple strips on there. And I think this is the last one, right? Yeah, so that was the last one. And let's take a look at the rankings, actually. Big surprise. Basically the same as last season. Basically, like 90% of this entire, like the defenses, the guilds that are at the top, 90% of everything is the same as last season. So I bet you guys can't guess what's going to happen. Please don't let it be the same scandal this season, though. At the Legend Tournament, please, come to us, please. We learned from last season, right? We don't want to do the same thing again, right? I'm just saying. Yeah, so it's the same, basically the same. Maybe one guild moved a little bit higher or lower. I don't remember the exact ranks of all of these different guilds the last season, but for the most part, very similar stuff. Let's go take a look at the other servers. Very similar situation on the Europe server. The same guild that were at the top are last season are at the top this season as well. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, European server players, Squad Zero, I don't think was at number 1 last season, were they? They were very high, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but they were. I don't think they were number 1 going into the Legend Tournament. But I think there's a little bit more variation in the ranks here than there was in the last season. But it's basically again the same guilds for the most part, the same guilds with a little bit of variation, maybe a little bit more than global, but the same guilds are for the most part at the top. Right? So let's take a look at the other ones. Now we're here on the Asia server. I forgot that you can't actually take a look at this unless you join a guild. So I just joined whatever guild. In the meantime, I'm going to have to leave. Delicious was actually in the Legend. They lost, but they were actually in the Legend. I'm surprised that Delicious was actually in the Legend tournament on the Asia server. That was actually shocking. Can you guys even see what I'm talking about in the top right hand corner? So we're seeing fairly similar to what we saw in the last season. Fairly similar. We can't actually see what matches are going on, but we can see that is actually a different. Wick was definitely not, unless they changed the name of the guild, they were definitely not the number 1 guild in the last season. So that is definitely different from the last season on Asia server. That is 100% different from last season. I know that for a fact. But a lot of the same guilds. Same guilds. I'm actually surprised. I know there's a lot of strong Delicious members. I'm just surprised because I didn't think they were really like super try-hard. So I'm kind of surprised that they're up here in G3. No offense to any Delicious members. I just didn't think that they were really like, because here's the thing. I see Island Grown summoning all the time and then doing Pokemon opening packs. And I'm like, okay, he's not really pushing for try-hard Siege Battle Tournament for this. And then I see YDCB not even logging in for a month and a half. And I'm like, okay, probably Delicious not going to be in the Legend Tournament. That's just from my perception. Then also I've been on like a couple other Delicious member accounts and I'm like, okay, I don't like, they're not bad accounts. I just didn't think they were going to be Legend Tournament guild. But I guess I was mistaken. But we see again a lot of the same guilds here. China server now, we can't see the battles that are currently going on because they've already won and they're waiting for the next battle to start. However, we can see, if you guys are curious, this Tomato and How to Play in the same. I feel like they're going to get number 1. It's such a crazy strong guild, right? I think they're actually currently probably number 1. We'll see. But they're one of the ones that are in the top 4 at the very least, so they're going to get a bye into the last round. Didn't they get number 1 on China? So you guys don't know. Most of you don't know. You're like, I don't know. I assume that they do. But I think that they got Legend last season on China server as well. Let's take a look at the info for ranking. And yes, they are number 1 for here. There's a lot of strong guilds on China. A lot of crazy stuff on China. See a little bit more LD5s than usual on China server for the top Guild Siege defenses. But for the most part, a lot of these are still very similar. Let's just summon this too. So we're on the light and dark only. You know, well, actually, this is the Dark Bison. I mean, the dark, no, Bagel, no, wrong, nutty. This is the Fire, Dark Bison? I'm so, what? Okay, this is the Fire Bison. I have him on 2 different accounts. I don't have to be upset that this is the light dark server. At least I'll include this, I'm sure, in the video. We stick him in storage along with you. Just in case anyone was curious, we are on Japan server. Japan server, we usually do the Light and Dark series. I don't know a lot of these. I mean, I know Guerrilla Radio. I don't know, man. I need to be, like, it needs to be English for me to, like, draw associations, because I may know some of these players and actually have some of them favorited on for RTA on some of my accounts for the favorites lists, and I just don't, like, I don't associate them because I don't sometimes I need to see the profile pictures, be like, oh, that's that person, they have this playstyle, they have this kind of runes on their units, and I will know who they are based on, like, the profile picture, but I can't, like, I don't speak Japanese. I should learn Japanese. It's never gonna happen. But we can see over here, and we can see, wow, I didn't open any of my boxes, did I? So Excellent is actually doing very excellently. There we go. And then a lot of these, I mean, the only ones that I really can draw associations to are the ones that are in English. But a decent amount of these are in English. Much more than China, which is, it's like all Chinese for the most part. Now we're here on Korea server. We usually do free to win. It doesn't say Korea server, but it is Korea server that we usually do. That's the account that we're on. We're taking a look at the Siege Battle Tournament, just in case anyone cares on the layout of the Siege Battle Tournament for this server. Comtua's home country is South Korea, so a lot of us may remember some, like, Barcode members, for example. Lucky God and Tree is in here, and 4Baby is in here, and there's a lot of different people that we may know from, like, SWC or different kind of events or things like that. So yeah, so some of us may know some of the people in some of these guilds, may be curious on how they're doing, but this is the current layout for that. I'm surprised actually Barcode is not, I don't know, every time I look at Barcode I'm like, they must be, like, the top guild. Like, nope. Okay, really? Nope. Okay. That's just me. Anyway, let's take a look at the ranking for this. So the Tiger Guild is really ridiculously... Oh, that's sunglasses on that Tiger? Okay, I'm just making sure that I got that sunglasses on that Tiger. Ridiculously OP, but I can never remember which guild it is because it's a Korean name, so of course. And then Troublemaker, again, it's just everything in English. Stupid American. Everything in English is the stuff that I remember. But yeah, Barcode is the one that I recall a decent amount of people in Barcode because they are streamers, or they are in SWC or things like that. But anyway, that's it for this one. Just wanted to go through some of the things going on in the current Siege Battle Tournament, just in case anyone's curious, just in case anyone wants to know. It's like, oh, I wonder how, same guilds as last time, same towers as last time. TLDR. You don't even have to watch the video. This is the worst part about this. You don't have to watch the video. It's the same guilds as the last time. It's the same defenses as the last time. There's over 600 monsters in the game. There's a big misconception that there's like 1,000 monsters in the game, but that's including, when people say that, they're actually including all the awakened forms. I don't include 1270 monster collection. That's including unawakened and awakened. So there's actually not 1270 monsters in the game. Because you don't play, if a monster's you don't play with unawakened monsters, you awaken them first, and then you play with them. But yeah, maybe like roughly 600 to 700 actual monsters in the game that are like different, unique monsters to each other. However, like 40 are used in siege battles. So anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you guys got something out of it. I'm sure nobody has watched till the end. So shout out to you if you watched till the end. Good job. You're my favorite. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you as always in the next one.